get this started. We have not live streamed in a long
Since the
time.
Phillies.
So yeah, and even that, like we weren't
wasn't on our
running
channel.
that stream. So there we go. We are up and running. And
Do you want to turn that on?
Well, no, then I think that'll create an echo.
Okay.
This is what they can hear us. I mean, comment if you can't, but we have audio for ourselves. So
let's go. We're going to talk about the Eagles today. Big day.
We're so excited.
Big day in Philly Nation.
Yes. The Sixers are playing the Magic, and also the Eagles are playing the Packers.
The more important game.
Yes. Yeah. The wild card round, we're going to preview the game. Obviously, that's what a pregame show is for, but we're also just going to talk about the Eagles season overall a little bit. If you want a more extensive talk about the Eagles season, we did do that on our most recent podcast episode. So after this, you can just stay on our YouTube channel, click over to that, and you'll still have time. That episode's under an hour, and we'll be done with this by 2:30. So you'll have time to watch that and have plenty of time before the game starts.
And then just watch Owen's amazing hype video that we put out. That thing is doing numbers.
Yes.
And it'll get you ready to run right into a brick wall. As one of the comments said, not through a brick wall, just into a brick wall. So yeah, I mean, it's going to be a big day for Eagles Nation. Looking back at the season though, real quick, if we just want to start there, I mean, 14-3 is a pretty good year. Like,
it's a great year.
I mean, you were expecting it because you predicted that at the beginning of the season in our Eagles prediction video. So you were aware of it, but the national media wasn't. I think the over-under on the Eagles season was 10.5 games. So would they get to 11? They definitely got to 11. They got to 14.
Yeah.
But they didn't get the 1 seed, though, that's pretty wild.
With 14 wins, normally that would get you the 1 seed. Yeah. I don't think any of us were expecting. You guys also were high on the Eagles. You and Luke had them at 13-4. Luke is not here, by the way. For anyone missing Luke, he is hoping to be with us for the post-game show, though. So the goal is that we'll be celebrating the Eagles' first playoff win of the season with Luke afterwards. So don't worry, he's all right. But yeah, 14-3 is a fantastic season, and the media, we talked about, again, our season preview was one of my complaints was that everyone in the media, I was like watching stuff to prepare and like, what's everybody else thinking about the Eagles? Right. How biased am I? And they kept talking about how the Eagles ended the season last year. And I'm like, I don't know why this is such a big issue. Like, they replaced their coordinators.
Both of them.
Made some changes to the defense, which was their big weakness last year. The defense and the offensive line play, which is weird because the offensive line is so good. So, which is another thing to go farther back. Remember this time last year how we were like, the Eagles are screwed. They're not going to do anything. And then they got torched by the Bucs. I feel so much better this year.
It doesn't
compared to last year.
I mean, it's almost like last year they were the Steelers of this season. Like, the Steelers were losing.
Or the Steelers of the last, 5 seasons.
Yeah, they always come into the playoffs, on a 4-game losing streak and just keep that rolling right into the first-round exit in the postseason. It feels like this year they can actually make a splash. They're favored, obviously, in this game. And they could be favored in a bunch of games up until the NFC Championship game. So they really have an opportunity to go far in this postseason. What was the most surprising thing? I wanted to ask you this question because I'm curious. But the most surprising thing from this season for the Eagles, something you weren't expecting at all that ended up happening, what was that surprise? It could be a personal player, something that happened on the field. What were you surprised about with the Eagles this year?
I mean, I think the simple answer for everybody is Zach Bond, because no shot if you said Zach Bond is going to be the best linebacker in the league.
It's true.
After the Eagles sign him to a 1-year, $5 million deal or something like that. 1 year sub $10 million. That has to be the biggest surprise.
I think he went from 17 tackles last year with the Saints. I think he had 17. All the way in a reserve role. He barely played. I mean, it wasn't like he played the entire season and only had 17 tackles. He wasn't bad. He just wasn't playing a lot. Into 151 combined tackles this year with the Eagles in the regular season, and that was without playing a full game.
Yeah,
last week, and
he was competing for a starting job coming into training camp.
Yeah,
it was like, all right, who are the Eagles linebackers gonna be? Like,
and didn't they cut Devin White or something?
Yep,
because
Devin White
people were expecting him to like be a big part of the Eagles roster, like for the first couple weeks, but then the linebacker play was so good. They just cut him because they were like,
he was bad.
Yeah, he was also really bad. Yeah.
They felt good enough
but people thought he was going to be the guy, and Zach Bond was just going to be or Nakobe Dean, Nakobe Dean has like 128 tackles too.
Yeah.
So I agree with you. It is very unique to see the Eagles having good linebackers.
We never see that.
Yeah. And the two really good linebackers playing really well, flying around the field. Like, it's refreshing. It's like we never see this. So I think I would agree with you on that. That's super surprising. Yeah.
Yeah. So the playoffs as a whole, I would like to move into that unless you have something else.
No.
Regular
let's
season.
get into it. Today's the big day.
That's what we're excited about.
Today's the big day.
We're ready for what's about to happen instead of what already happened. The Eagles have never lost to the Packers in the playoffs. They've played 2 times. They beat them in 1960, and then I think 2003, early 2000s.
Okay, Donovan McNabb era.
They beat them. Yep, yeah. The 4th and 26 game is what I know it as, because Donovan McNabb completed a pass on 4th and 26 to keep the Eagles' season alive. So it's a fun history. 2 very historic teams, obviously. So this matchup is going to be very fun. Jordan Love versus Jalen Hurts is a fun young quarterbacks matchup. So the teams as a whole is a very entertaining matchup. But what do you think specifically as to hone in on one aspect of the game? What are you looking for between the two?
Well, so the Eagles defense has obviously been really good. I think they're giving up like the 7th least amount of, they're the best in the league in terms of yards per game, but I think they're giving up like the 7th best in terms of points per game. So like an elite defense this year. Vic Fangio's got the squad just like bang, ready to crush people. And so I hope here's what I want to watch and see. Can they limit Josh Jacobs? The key about this matchup is that they played week 1. I still remember, I can't believe the season's already gone. I still remember watching that game, and we were all watching it together, I think, right?
Yeah.
I mean, basically, the Packers' offense was actually rolling. Like, they were actually performing pretty well.
Yeah. On that slippery grass.
Yeah, the slippery
That's what I remember.
Yeah, I know. But we also said that about the Super Bowl, too, when they lost the Super Bowl. So whenever they have a bad defensive performance, we just chalk it up to slippery grass. But I do remember Jordan Love had a bunch of explosive passes. And then also Josh Jacobs was kind of running all over the Eagles.
Yeah.
And he continued to do that throughout the whole season for the Packers. They were very much like a run first team, like kind of like the Eagles, but discount version, because Josh Jacobs wasn't quite as good as Saquon. And when they were able to have those like high scoring, like high rush yard games, they were able to convert and win. So I think for me, that's what I want to watch. Can this Eagles defense, specifically the rush defense, shut down Josh Jacobs?
Okay.
That's kind of what I'm curious to watch and see, because if they can do that and force Jordan Love to make plays with his arm, I don't trust Jordan Love a whole lot. Like,
really?
Yes.
Okay.
He's been up and down this year. He's had some great plays. He's also gotten hurt at times, and he's made some errant passes, like some just really bad throws. We were like, why would he do that?
Yeah.
Whereas Jalen Hurts, I trust a lot more this year, which we can get into a little bit. But that for me, I think, is the key. Can the defense limit Josh Jacobs and force Jordan Love to beat them?
Okay.
If that's the case, I feel really good about the game.
Okay. Yeah, with Jordan Love, what we've seen from quarterbacks in the playoffs so far with Justin Herbert threw more picks in a playoff game than he did all season. So like, regardless of what happened in the regular season, crazy things can happen. And then with the run stopping, it's like we said, how it's surprising to see good linebackers. On the flip side, this isn't a bad Eagles defensive line, but it's weird seeing an Eagles defense where the defensive line is probably the weakest unit of the 3. That we never see that either. So if the defensive line is able to do well, then I feel so good about our defense, which I already feel good about. The matchup that I'm looking for is locking down another Packers offensive player. We didn't even talk about this beforehand, but we're on the same page.
No, we didn't.
I want to make sure that Quinyon and Slay can lock up Jaden Reed because, again, my answer is very similar to yours as I go now. Jaden Reed torched them in Brazil.
Yeah.
Had multiple big plays. CJ couldn't tackle him that one time. That was bad. But yeah, I think that Quinyon has gotten so much better.
The rookies
this year.
I mean, you compare the very first real NFL action you have. It does make sense a little bit if you think about that. It's like, man, if it's your first day on a job and it's your first game or it's your first meeting or appointment or whatever it is on your job, just for this example, like you're not going to be quite as good as your 18th time going into that big meeting or something like that. You're right about that. The rookies have gotten a lot better, and we've seen Guantanamo Bay just progress. The island has gotten bigger and bigger, you could say. Yeah,
for him, his
island,
the receivers have had less to work with.
Exactly.
And Cooper DeJean wasn't even starting in that game. I don't know how many snaps he got, but he wasn't starting. He didn't start until after the bye week. So you've added him.
They turned the whole season around at that point.
Yeah,
like he is a huge piece. Like the guy, I know he's white, but he is a freak of nature. Like he can jump through the roof. Like he's athletic. And so 100%. That's been a huge addition.
Okay, so we both need think that the Eagles need to stop the Packers offense. That seems like a good formula to win the game.
Let us know what you're thinking though. Like, is there something that
I forgot to put that. You talk about something, I gotta write in the chat quick. I'll be back, guys.
Yeah. Let us know kind of what your thoughts are about what are some big keys to the game. We each had stopping one of the best Packers offensive players, which is a pretty big key. Another thing too is Romeo Doubs is coming back. Romeo Doubs is their wide receiver 2 for this game, and shutting him down is going to be really important. And if they can just shut down one or two of those guys, like it doesn't have to be their entire offense, but if they just take out, that's what Bill Belichick always did super well, taking away like the best options on the other team. And if they can do that, I want to see Jalen Carter getting dirty in the trenches, just stopping everything. Honestly, I think that like he can get to the quarterback. He's going to be double teamed the entire game. I want to see Jordan Davis like just stuffing the run. That guy is just massive. Like I don't think I could, if I ate once an hour for 24 years, I don't think I could be as big as Jordan Davis. He's just a massive human being.
I don't think it would be physically healthy for you to,
Well, it wouldn't, but what I'm saying, no, you're right. I think I'd have to literally double. How much does he weigh? 345?
Something. He's 6'8".
I think he's 345.
Over 330, yeah.
So I'd have to.
How would you do the growth part? How'd you get to 6'8"?
Just hang your legs off the bed.
Okay, there you go. Yeah.
No, I don't think that would work, honestly. But no, I think we talked a lot about the defense. Should we talk about the offense a little bit?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. It starts with the quarterback.
Of course.
So why don't we start there?
We talked about our hype video earlier.
We did, yeah.
I saw at least 5 comments of people being like, we need Jalen Hurts to not screw this up. And
this hinges on Jalen Hurts not screwing this up.
There's some truth to that. Like, yeah, he doesn't have to do everything. He can kind of game manage and like just get it to the stars around him. But also it just like, I was like, after everything Jalen's done this year, you guys still don't trust him? Like, someone called him a loser, which we know that that's not true. Jalen Hurts has shown his whole football career to be a winner. Right. So we're not worried about that. But yeah, I trust Jalen to have a great game. He doesn't need to go out there and carry the team. He just has to facilitate, distribute, whatever words, manage the game well. And he'll make a big play or two, but it's not like he has to, create everything by himself.
This year,
I'm not worried at all about Jalen.
During the regular season, he had an all-time high for completion percentage, 69%, right? He's completing the most amount of potential passes, like per pass percentage, as he has in his entire season. His numbers are down. I think he's at 2,900 yards as opposed to like 3,800 and 3,700 in previous years. But that's because they were throwing the ball the least amount of the entire league in the NFL. It's not because he's, just not completing passes. He still has the best completion percentage that he has out of all his previous seasons. And his interceptions has been the big thing. Last year, it was bad last year. 15 interceptions, okay? That's very, very bad. 15 picks. This season, 5 interceptions. So much better. Yeah. All the elite quarterbacks in the league have low interception numbers. It's just a fact. Josh Allen has gotten so good because he stopped turning the ball over.
Yep.
And he literally has like 3 or 4 picks. Like same with Lamar. Like all the best quarterbacks have low, besides Patrick Mahomes right now, have low interception numbers.
Yeah.
Which
and his weren't like crazy high.
No.
They just weren't single digits.
Exactly.
Which is insane that we have so many quarterbacks.
Yeah, that are
taking 8 interceptions.
Taking care of the ball. Like
it's amazing.
Jared Goff would be at 3 or 4 right now, except that one game where he had like 5.
The blow up.
Yeah, so he's at like 8 or 9. But like still it's crazy, and all the best quarterbacks take care of the ball. And so if we can, you're right, Owen, and if he can just take care of the ball, be that game manager that we know he can be, and not have the stupid fumble. If he like does a Justin
Herbert. You get
Herbert,
so mad when he fumbles.
Yeah, because
every time
I do get mad because a lot of times when he does fumble, it's just because of lack of pocket awareness.
Yes.
It's like, okay, you're a quarterback. Literally, guys are trying to attack you when you have the ball. So, like, shouldn't you be aware of where they're coming from and just take the sack instead of? Anyway, if we steal one of those, I'm gonna be so mad today. And turnovers are a huge thing. I think the Eagles have a +12. Does that sound right?
Yeah.
+12 turnover.
Positive,
yeah, I think the Packers have +11 turnover ratio. So both teams take care of the ball more than they give it up. And so that's going to be a big battle today too. Who can take care of the ball better? I do trust Jalen Hurts more than Jordan Love though. Especially after what he's done this year. I do trust Jalen Hurts a lot. So if you look at our skill position players and compare them to the Packers skill position players, I think they win in like every aspect.
The Eagles absolutely should win this game.
They should. If
we've done all this analysis, the Eagles should win. They're favored. They are they've been a great team all year. The Packers are good, but not in that great tier that the Eagles are. I think everyone can pretty much agree on that.
Right. No, I 100%. And then when you get to the wide receivers, like, who would you rather take? Jalen Reed and Romeo Doubs, or A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith?
Yeah.
It's clear. It's very clear. Who would you rather take? Josh Jacobs or Saquon Barkley? Like, easy dubs. Saquon Barkley.
Yeah. Weapon X Eagles Media is a great name.
That is a great media. Easy dubs for the Eagles today. Yeah. So, I mean, if you just look at every single aspect of the game, especially on the offensive end, like they have the explosives. They're getting Dallas Goedert back.
I completely forgot about that, but I was talking with my brother the other day. I was like, oh yeah, we haven't had our starting tight end for weeks. Just another extra weapon to throw out there.
Remember when he put up like 160 yards way back in like week 6 or 7?
Yeah, that felt like that saved against the Saints.
Yeah.
I think that was like week 3.
Oh, that's
like
true.
It saved our season because they were about to lose again, and it was like, oh no, they're going to start off 1-2, and then, he's great.
So you're third most explosive pass catcher, but only because you have 2 superstars in front of him is literally coming back. That gives them another facet to the game, and now they can run double tight end sets too with Dallas Goedert and Calcaterra.
Yep.
And they can really
great for the run and pass game.
Yeah, they can bring in the big guys when Saquon's close to the goal line. You know. Also, you know what I witnessed yesterday? Pittsburgh, I think it was the second quarter, they had a 4th and inches, right? And it just made me think about how much we take for granted the tush push, because whenever we're in a 4th and inches situation, we have a high percentage play that can get us 1 yard, right? Pittsburgh punted the ball in that case. They were in their own territory.
They were at like the 25, but still,
it was
the Eagles. The Eagles probably would have.
They would have gone for it, and they probably would have gotten it. So it just they have, and when you're at the 1 yard line, you have a play that can get you into the end zone. Like, it's just such a luxury that other teams don't have. Yeah. So that's another thing I noticed yesterday. It's like, man, it really makes a difference. The Lions have the same thing. They just have that competitive aspect to go for on 4th down. So
yeah, if the Eagles and Lions play each other, we'll obviously talk about that if it happens. But Sirianni versus Dan Campbell.
Oh my goodness.
The aggressiveness will be off the charts.
Imagine the trick plays combined with like the 4th and 20 going for it. And then like
insane.
Yeah, like no field goals the entire game. Which, speaking of field goals, I don't know if we want to talk about Jake Elliott.
Yeah, we should get to that. I want to answer this question quick. Are the Eagles 3 deep at quarterback from my dad? They are in this game. I mean, I would really hope that we don't have to go to Tanner McKee or Kenny Pickett. So
yeah,
they are 3 deep because the biggest scare was Jalen if he was going to be healthy for this game, but he cleared concussion protocol. He will be starting, and ideally we would want him to play this whole game. But yeah, Kenny Pickett and Tanner McKee are available. So we have all 3 quarterbacks. They are all healthy enough to play.
I'm expecting Jalen Hurts' mobility to be real solid. Like it wasn't like he hurt his legs, right? Like he should be able. He hurt his brain. It doesn't affect your legs, right? You can actually probably run quicker when your brain is hurt because there's no limiting factor there. Right?
Yeah.
So I'm really hoping that Jalen Hurts, I think he's at his best when he's running around, when he's able to scramble, when the read option with Saquon is a threat for both Saquon and him to run the ball. Because then the linebackers don't know what to do. They don't know who to come down on.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping, and that's when Jalen Hurts has looked his best too, when he has like a big scramble, and he's had so many rushing touchdowns this year. I'm hoping that with a couple weeks off, like I'm hoping his legs are feeling good and he's ready, like he's looking quick and explosive. He didn't have that last year. He was hurt a little bit. So I'm hoping that he looks good this year.
Yeah, it's definitely a rest versus rust thing.
Do you think he's going to be rusty? Do you think?
I hope not.
Yeah.
But I mean, he could. Like, game speed is tough to jump back in. He hasn't started a game in almost a month. So yeah, I'm hoping that he's not. I would like to think, me being optimistic as I normally am, I think it makes sense that the rest is better because the Eagles had such an early bye week. I would rather have Jalen be fresh. So I think that'll be good. Like, and the fact that they benched the starters in week 18, it was tough that Saquon didn't get to go for the record, but I think that was smart. I would like for the starters to be fresh. So I think I'll take that risk. Maybe they'll be a little rusty. Like maybe they come out, it looks a little rough on the first drive, but then it clicks.
So here's a question. Yeah. Obviously, during the regular season, there was a bit of an issue with the Eagles scoring the ball in the first quarter.
Yes.
Right? They didn't have any, was it a touchdown or points?
I think at the beginning of the season, for a few games, it was points, and then they finally got points. And then it was like touchdown. Multiple weeks in,
until like, close to like week 8 or 9 or something. So here's the question I want to ask you. Do you think the rust could play a factor in this? Jalen Hurts could be a little bit rusty. Do you think they're going to score a touchdown in the first quarter?
Ooh, great question. No, I don't think they score a touchdown in the first quarter. Unfortunately, I would love for them to jump out.
So it'll be like a little bit of a warm up, is what you're saying. Don't get too scared if the Eagles don't score a touchdown in the first quarter. Are you expecting?
I mean, we've seen that all year. Like, we don't get scared if the first half doesn't go perfect.
So are you expecting them to be behind then after the first quarter?
No, I don't think it'll be a super high scoring start to the game.
Okay.
Maybe like 3-0, 6-0, 3-3. Watch me say this, and then it's like 14-7 at the end of the first. But yeah, I'm expecting a little bit of a slow start. But again, this could always go either way, where it's like they could start out rusty, or it could be the other side where they're totally fresh and they feel great and they come out firing. So, yeah, I don't know. Who would we put in if Jalen gets hurt? Why are we talking about Jalen getting hurt? We don't want to.
I don't want to jinx anything. Do we have any wood? I mean, here's the table right here.
Knock on wood. You can't see it, but Parker's knocking.
I am knocking on wood right now just to protect us.
Kenny Pickett is the backup quarterback.
Yes,
officially. So
he is.
He would go.
Tanner McGee's looked really good.
People would argue it.
They would argue
if Pickett goes in and they lose. Everybody like, you should have put McKee in. But I think he would put Pickett in just because that's the guy. But yeah, McKee absolutely looked great. The Mormon missile. Hopefully the Eagles. I don't know what his contract situation is with them. I think he's on a rookie deal still.
I think so, yeah.
But I'm not sure. Because I feel like he could be a backup for some teams. So yeah, it would be Kenny Pickett. But with either of them, we would be terrified against the Packers.
Right.
As long as the game is close, I don't want either of them seeing the field, ideally.
Let me ask you this question, okay? We haven't gotten to the best player on the Eagles yet, okay? We haven't gotten to him. But here's the question. How many yards do you think Saquon's going to have this game?
Okay.
Obviously, he's over 2,000 yards in the regular season. Saquon just went off. He could have probably gotten the record in the 17-game season if he would have played week 17. He should have fresh legs. This is the most attempts he's ever had, Saquon, but he also has had a bye week last week, essentially, because he did not play. So what do you think? How many yards do you think Saquon's going to have? Do you think that the Eagles are going to stick to their game plan of feeding the rush? Usually Saquon has more yards in the second half than he does in the first half. So do you think that's going to be the case again today? If so, how many yards do you think he's going to have?
I'm looking up his over-under right now. This is just the first link that I found. This says consensus line 104.5.
Makes sense. That makes sense.
It'll vary between sports. If we set the line at like 100, does he have more or less than 100 yards?
I think week one he had I think he had 105 week one, or somewhere. I think it was 105.
Okay, rushing yards.
Yeah, rushing yards. Yeah,
I think he goes over because again with Jalen.
The Packers are going to be like, this is the thing they're going to be trying to stop.
That everyone's trying to stop Saquon every game. Yeah, and it hasn't worked well so far.
That's true.
Because I think they'll want to start Jalen off a little bit slower, get him acclimated. I sure hope it's not like, all right, Jalen, first game back in 3 weeks, let's throw it all over the field. Like I don't think they're going to want to air it out early. Just get Jalen in there, a couple handoffs, some check downs. They'll probably. Here's the thing I'll say. In the first quarter, the Eagles will run a screen, and it will not work because they just can't run screens for some reason.
They cannot run screens. No, they can't.
But yeah, I think they'll have Jalen kind of take it a little easy in the first quarter. So I'll go Saquon over 100 yards. I would feel weird picking against Saquon to go over.
Yeah, 100. I wouldn't want to pick against Saquon either. I think he's just an absolute monster. And looks like he had 116
official
yards.
Prediction.
116 yards, 4 receptions. That's a good prediction.
Saquon with an O instead of an A, but it's okay. The second A is an O. 116 yards, 4 receptions. 4 receptions. That's also a fun line because I think if things are not going great in the passing game, they might try to be like, all right, we have to get Saquon the ball and involve him this way too. So hopefully they're able to just be on cruise control, but it's playoff game, so anything can happen. We're coming up on 2:30. We don't want to hold you guys too long, so official score predictions over under we'll hit
over under's 46.5. So over under 46.5. The Eagles are favored by 5.5. And score prediction as well. I think we can hit those 3.
Yeah. And then one specific game bold prediction.
Okay, bold game prediction. Okay.
Over under.
Over under. We saw week 1. This was an explosive game. There was a lot of big chunk plays. I think that's indicative of what we'll see today. I think there will be a lot of offense. Even though the Eagles have a really good defense, I still think that the Packers are going to find a way to move the ball. I think the Eagles are going to score a lot, honestly. So I'm going to go over 46.5 total points. Eagles are favored by 5.5. I may be biased, but I think there's a little bit of factoring in Jalen Hurts' rust in this number. I could easily see the Eagles winning by more than a touchdown. And so I don't know if that will happen or not, but I'm going to predict that it will happen.
Okay.
So we're going to go favored by minus 5.5 and take that Eagles line and go, that they'll win by 6 or more points. And then what was the last one? The final score. What I think.
Score prediction.
So obviously it has to add up to more than 46.5. I'm thinking,
unless you want to hedge your bets.
No, I don't want to do that. I'm thinking 30 to 21.
Okay.
30 to 21. Okay. Eagles win. I think they will. That's a little bit of a take, but I think they'll get into the 30s. I think the Eagles are going to score the ball this game.
Yeah.
So that's that score prediction. And then why don't you tell me yours, and then I'll tell you my bold.
Yeah. Okay. Mine, I think I'm in a similar area as you, so I don't want to have all the same picks. I mean, our score predictions will be different, but I think I feel similarly to this as you do, because I think that if everything goes the way that it should for the Eagles, they should put up 30. They should probably win by more than one score. I agree with all of that. The only thing is, it's a playoff game. Things can go wrong. There might be a little bit of rust. So,
like the Chargers.
Hopefully
they don't pull a
crazy
Chargers.
things happen.
Yeah, if they pull a Chargers, I'm gonna be so mad.
No, they're not gonna pull a Chargers. Yeah. So I think I don't want to have the same picks as you for being boring, but for the personal record book, I've believed in the Eagles all year. I said at the beginning of the year that if they win the Super Bowl, this will be the greatest Eagles team we've ever seen. So I think I gotta stick with that confidence, and I think that they can dominate the Packers if they play well. So I'll say that they dominate the Packers.
Okay, domination.
The under hits just because the Packers offense can't get going.
Wow, okay.
So under, the Eagles cover the line. So we agree on that. And then the score, I will say that the Eagles put up 34 again.
Ooh, okay.
Just like they did in Brazil against the Packers.
That means they have to have less than 12 or less points.
Oh, dang it. I was going to say 13. I did my math wrong. Okay. The Eagles score 31 and the Packers score 13. It's a nice inverse score, 31-13. Eagles come out and crush the Packers.
Nice.
I would say that counts as crushing them. 31-13
that feels like it's just a solid
That feels like a beatdown.
That feels like beatdown.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to pick two things to happen. I'm going to pick the under on Josh Jacobs rush yards. I think they're going to stuff Josh Jacobs. I think the Eagles defense, the run defense is going to get strong. It's going to get solid. I think they're going to stuff Josh Jacobs. I also think Jordan Love has at least one interception.
I really do not believe in Jordan Love.
I don't believe in him. At least one interception. I would parlay those if I could.
Okay.
And then from the Eagles offensive perspective, I think that Devontae is going to have a big game.
Okay.
I'm feeling a Devontae game. He's going to have one huge catch. Okay, he might not have a big game necessarily, but he's going to have one
very impactful,
take the top off type. Either big play, 50+ yards. Like we're thinking massive play.
50+.
50+ yards.
Okay.
Yeah, catch.
That's a bold prediction.
Oh, very bold prediction.
50+. Okay.
And then
I like that. Wow, you got so many.
I gotta have two for each team.
I got you. Okay. I didn't know that was the format.
We'll just go with that Saquon.
I like that.
We'll just go with that steady Saquon, 123 rush yards and 47 pass yards for almost 200 yards. Not quite. 170 some yards total for Saquon.
That would be awesome.
Yards.
That sounds like an Eagles win to me. Okay, Brandon Miller. We have a Packers fan in here, so everyone be nice. The Packers have given up a single 40-yard anything all year. I mean, haven't?
Get ready for
they're about to. I don't know if that meant they've only given up one, or maybe it meant haven't given up a single. But yeah, that means they're due to give up a 40+ yard play.
It also means that they've got a pretty good secondary.
Law of averages.
Not gonna lie.
Yeah, but Jair Alexander is hurt.
That's true.
So it's not the healthiest. It's been only one. Okay, so yeah, about to give up a second one is what we're
potentially.
Yeah.
I guess we'll see.
It's a bold prediction.
It is.
You can stand by a bold prediction. Yeah,
and that's good for the Packers secondary.
Yeah. Yeah, only one is. I wonder what the Eagles have given up because their secondary has also been good. That'd be something to look into. My bold predictions. I already made my one. The Eagles will run a screenplay that will gain less than 2 yards in the first quarter.
It'll go negative. It'll probably be like -3 yards. They always do that.
Oh, dude, Brandon Miller. Brandon. Thank you for this info. This is great. AJ, we should have known that because it was a touchdown. The one that AJ took like across the field in Brazil for a touchdown.
That was dirty.
So imagine if AJ does it again to them. They're like, the only person who does this to us is AJ Brown.
It's deja vu. It's called deja vu, Owen.
All over again.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, bold prediction 1 is the failed screenplay first quarter.
That seems realistic.
That it just happens every game.
That should be a prop on like FanDuel or something, like just a failed screen for the Eagles. Yeah. Everybody would take that.
Less than 2 yards gained on a screenplay. I will say that Zach Bond forces a fumble.
Ooh, he has 4, I think, all year. So this would be number 5 if he ends up doing that.
Zach Bond force fumble gets the crowd fired up.
That's true. It's in the link. So that's a huge advantage for the Eagles.
That's another thing. I'm so excited. Saquon has played against the Eagles in the link in a playoff game, and obviously was on the wrong end of it. I'm excited for Saquon to be on the right side of the electric Philly crowd. That's going to be amazing.
Yeah.
As a side note. And then another bold prediction. Oh, okay. Yeah. Before I get to that, that's a great question. We did this last year in the playoffs. We did our bingo boards. We never completed one of them.
We didn't.
We failed every time, but
didn't get bingo.
In the NFC Championship round and the Super Bowl, we got like one away.
It was close.
I think we could run it back. I don't think we're doing it for this one because there's too many games. We did it in the divisional and then the NFC AFC Championship round and then the Super Bowl because it was a little bit easier to have to keep track of the games.
Right.
So I think we'll keep it away for the wild card round because there's just more going on. It'd be a lot. But yeah, if you guys want us to do that again, I love putting together the bingo boards. That was a blast.
Yeah, bingo boards were really fun.
It was basically this. We thought of like specific things that would happen in the game.
Exactly.
And a couple like extra things mixed in, and yeah, it was a lot of fun. So yeah, I have one more bold Packers prediction left.
Right.
I don't think that Jordan Love throws an interception.
Okay, so I think he's gonna throw one. Do you believe in Jordan Love? You think he's actually a solid quarterback? I don't know, man. I'm more scared of Malik Willis than Jordan Love. And that's I know it's a hot take. I don't know, man.
That doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't. But in my head, I'm not scared of Jordan Love. Like,
wow. I'm a little bit.
Maybe it's his last name. Maybe it's his first name.
Well, you're a huge fan of Michael Jordan, so it can't be the Jordan.
Well, but Jordan as a last name compared to a first name is different.
If it was Love Jordan, you'd be fine.
Yeah, I do love Jordan Love. Yeah, you're
right. Nice. That was good. Yeah, I think Jordan Love scares me more because you're right. He's had some bad moments, but he can make some crazy throws and have some electric plays. So I think that's what scares me is the volatility of like Jordan Love could light you up or you could also shut him down. I recognize the incongruence of me saying I think Jordan Love won't throw a pick while also saying the Packers will only score 13 points.
Hey, maybe Josh Jacobs fumbles 2 times.
Hey, Zach Bond forced fumble.
That's true. That would go in line with
Jordan Love.
Right.
On Josh Jacobs or on Jordan Love. A fumble would be fine as long as it's not an interception. So I think Jordan Love does have a decent game. Actually, I would like to change it.
You can add one.
Can I request it? Well, but it contradicts.
Oh, okay, fine. You can change it.
My dad said Parker fears nothing and no one. This is true.
This is true. That is true.
I'm changing this. I'm backtracking. I think Jordan Love does throw an interception. Just
okay.
A fun pick I think it'd be awesome if after going the whole regular season without getting an interception, if Quinyon Mitchell gets his first career interception in a playoff game at home. That would be so fun. The crowd would lose their minds, and it would just be a great moment. So
that would be.
I'm changing to that.
Okay,
just
that would be a fun moment
for the moment of Quinyon Mitchell finally getting a pick.
Right.
Sorry, Brandon, and any other Packers fans in here now.
So to wrap,
I spoke well of Jordan Love. Now I haven't thrown a pick.
But to wrap it up, then we're pretty confident about the Eagles.
Yes, as you can tell,
they're obviously 4.5, 5.5 point favorites, right around there. We feel pretty good. I don't think it's going to be a blowout. I think it's going to be a 2-possession win. So we're feeling pretty good about the Eagles, and it's going to be a fun game. Whoever wins this obviously moves on to face probably the Commanders or Vikings or Rams or Bucks.
So those are all of the teams.
Well,
the Packers would play the Lions if they win.
That's true. The Packers would play the Lions, but
my last note. We're hyping up the Eagles. It's great. We love how they're doing. The Packers last year became the first 7 seed to ever win a playoff game when they torched the Cowboys. Let's not be like the Cowboys.
That's true. Let's not be the Cowboys. That's all the motivation they should need to go out there and just crush this football game. Do not be the Cowboys.
Yes. So we are gonna go watch the game at 4:30. We won't be live streaming that or anything. Maybe we'll post a clip or 2 on our story, but
we'll be watching.
Go enjoy it with whoever you're watching it with. You don't have to be on YouTube while you're watching it. Just go enjoy the game. And we will, win or lose, be here with the post-game show probably 15 minutes after the game ends. Hopefully we'll be celebrating an Eagles win.
Join us after the Eagles just dominate this game. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yep.
Make sure you give us a subscribe if you haven't already. And then also thank you everybody that commented. We appreciate it.
Most comments we've ever had on a live stream. I think this is great.
Yeah, and it's gonna be a really fun game. Hopefully we're celebrating here in 4 or 5 hours. So,
and if they win, then that means we get to do another pre-game show and post-game show afterwards for the divisional round. So hopefully we get to do another one of these.
Let's keep it rolling.
Before we go, I just want to do a shout out. We mentioned the hype video. It officially has hit 40,000 views.
Wow.
So shout out to you guys.
Let's go. 40 grand.
It's
a lot of money.
We make $1 per view. That's not true. We don't make anything, but that is super helpful. It's also super encouraging. It's our most viewed video ever. Yeah. Great for morale.
And that shows also how many Eagles fans are hype about this game.
Yeah.
Like, we're coming out in 40, numbers today. We're coming out in numbers.
Yeah, I can't wait to see the crowd.
It's going to be fun.
But yeah, shout out to you guys. That's super helpful for us. Also, because we're close to monetizing this channel. And that would be, I was going to say a dream come true. That makes it sound like that's all I care about. That would be super cool.
Dream come true.
I shouldn't have said that.
Be a dream come
to have
true.
The channel monetized. That'd be huge. We've been doing it since 2019.
Yeah, long time.
So it's been a long journey, but this video has gotten us to 870 subscribers. You need to get to 1,000, and the watch time on that with 40,000 views is crazy. So that really bumped us up on our total watch time. So we're very close to being monetized, which would be so cool. So thank you guys for that. All right. Well, I'll stop now. There's a lot of things to be excited about. Enjoy the game.
You feel the energy?
Yes.
You feel the vibes?
I feel it.
The vibes are there, Owen. They're
Hopefully,
there.
We'll see Luke in the post-game show. He'll add even more vibes.
That's true.
As he does. So,
Luke's the vibe guy.
Yes. He's always been the vibe guy.
Let's go. Let's end it with this.
We'll see you guys in the post-game. From London.
We got everybody here.
Started following last year. That's awesome. Last year in my head I was like, oh man, so you've been following for a while, but we just started the new year, so you could have followed like in December last year, which is still great.
We got Birds fans from around the country coming out for this game. Let's go.
That's amazing.
I am pumped for this game. It's gonna be so fun. We'll see you guys after we get the win.
Yes, sir.
Okay, we'll see you after.
Go Birds.
Go Birds. Let's go.